A lot of drama out there as we roll into the weekend, almost all of it in the world of sports associated with the quarterback position in the NFL. I thought we could have a little bit of fun thinking about who makes sense to go where. It's a little bit like a game of chess, trying to think about how exactly all of these different pieces are going to fit together, looking at the board and more. By the way, we're going to be joined by Todd Furman coming up in a bit. The Daytona 500 is this weekend. How would you bet the Daytona 500? Looking ahead now, college basketball, the NBA, and more. All of that pretty interesting as well. But to me, there are right now about 5 teams, I would say, that I am completely fascinated to think about what they are going to do at the quarterback position and what decisions they are going to make going forward. And each of those teams has a little bit different of a dynamic in play, but all of them, I would say, feel like, hey, we could be a championship caliber team if things break the right way for us. And there's not really a player right now that is connected to any of these teams that makes a lot of sense long term. That is, there's nobody under contract for a massive amount of money. And to me, ultimately, right now there's some other moving parts that are associated with it, but to me, there are 5 legitimate teams that could see themselves in a reflection of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That is, look at what they were able to do. We have a lot of talent at other positions. We have no real commitment at the quarterback space going forward right now. And therefore, these 5 teams, to me, could legitimately look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and say the Bucs went from 7-9 to not having made the playoffs in 12 years to making the playoffs and being able to make a run at the Super Bowl, and all we need is a quarterback, and that is us, okay? To me, there are 5 teams. Now, the Rams are one of them. The Rams already made their move. They've got Matthew Stafford now. They moved on from Jared Goff. That is one of the teams that is out there. They've already proven that they basically see themselves in some ways through the refracted lens of the Tampa Bay Buccaneer Super Bowl win. But there are 5 other teams. I'm going to explain all of these teams. And some of them, some of these teams could say, hey, you know what? We're going to make a move and we're going to get into the draft and we're going to trade up and we're going to be aggressive there, right? Some of those teams could certainly make this argument. Others of them can look around at Carson Wentz. Maybe they kick the tires there. Maybe they kick the tires with Marcus Mariota, Derek Carr, see if there's any possibility to make a move there. It seems like that the Raiders are going to stick with Carr, that John Gruden feels like he's still the guy who can take them to the next level, or at least he's willing to ride with him for another year. So here are those 5 teams, and I am going to rank them for you in the likelihood that I believe they could be the 2021 version of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Okay? Are you ready? I hope so. The number 1 team, the most likely team in my mind to be able to be a modern-day version, the 2021 version of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, is the New Orleans Saints. We are presuming at this point in time that the Saints are moving on from Drew Brees because he is going to retire. That could change. But if Drew Brees moves on, the raw talent of the New Orleans Saints is at a phenomenal level. And they have a really intriguing decision to make going forward. Sean Payton in particular does. Is it Taysom Hill? Is it Jameis Winston? Is it Carson Wentz? Is it go into the draft, move up, and go find your guy of the future? You could, I believe, if you're a New Orleans Saints fan, as much as you're going to miss Drew Brees, I think there is a way where you switch quarterbacks and you are winning the Super Bowl next year. That's how talented I think the New Orleans Saints are. It would not surprise me at all if Sean Payton right now is looking around and saying, we could be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year. So I've got the Saints as the number 1 team that is a quarterback away in the NFL from being able to contend for a Super Bowl. Number 2 team right now, I think it's pretty straightforward. I think it's the Colts. Colts went 11-5 with Phillip Rivers last year. If they had gone and gotten Tom Brady, is it possible the Colts win the Super Bowl this year? I think it is, because I think Brady would have been better than Phillip Rivers was behind that offensive line. So if you are the Colts right now, does Frank Reich believe that Carson Wentz can be the MVP caliber Carson Wentz performer that he was when he tore his ACL? Remember, Carson Wentz was going to be the MVP of the league with Frank Reich as his offensive coordinator. Does Frank Reich believe that he can get MVP level performance from Carson Wentz like he got when he was the offensive coordinator with the Eagles? If he does, then giving up a first-round pick for Carson Wentz, given the fact that he's not that old, isn't a disaster for the Colts because they have a wide-open quarterback spot. Jacoby Brissett is done. Phillip Rivers is retiring. They have the money to be able to spend on a quarterback, and they could roll Carson Wentz in and feel really good if that is correct. If he's not fading, if he is able to perform at that level, to me it's a no-brainer. If not, the Colts can go into the draft, and they can go and find their quarterback of the future and feel like they are a quarterback away. The defense is that talented. I love Jonathan Taylor and what he's going to represent. Probably still need some help at the wide receiver position because you're aging a little bit there, but that could be remedied in a hurry given the salary cap space. I think Saints first as the version of the most likely team to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers of 2021. The Colts in the second spot. In the third spot, I would go with the Chicago Bears, because they've been dealing with Mitch Trubisky and now with Nick Foles' uncertainty for some period of time. If they had had Tom Brady this past year, I think the Bears very much could have been in the running to win a Super Bowl. The defense is stacked, has been for several years. The offense, I know they came on late in the season with Mitch Trubisky, but I think the Bears are in the third spot as the team that's most likely to be able to become the modern-day version of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the fourth spot, I'm going to go with the Washington football team. I love the young defensive talent that they have. I know they've committed to Taylor Heineke for another year. I know that you still have Alex Smith coming off of your injury, but you've walked away from Dwayne Haskins as your quarterback of the future. Are you going to go back into the draft now, just 2 years after you drafted Dwayne Haskins, or do you feel like there is a move that you can make, whether it's make an aggressive play for Dak Prescott, who followed you on Instagram, whether it's go out and give up basically everything for Deshaun Watson? Could Carson Wentz move inside the division? It seems unlikely, but who knows? Russell Wilson doesn't seem likely to be available. But those conversations can all take place because this defense is big time. They are very, very close in Washington to being able to put together, I believe, a championship caliber football team. They won 7 games playing 4 different quarterbacks last year. Let me repeat that. 4 different quarterbacks they played last year, and they still won 7 football games because their defense was so good. With the right quarterback, they go from 7-9 to 11-5 immediately, I believe, with Ron Rivera's leadership and everything that they have bringing to bear there. And then in the final spot, the 5th team that I believe is wide open at the quarterback position and is only a quarterback away is the New England Patriots. Bill Belichick still has not spent any money. Cam Newton didn't cost him anything. Jarrett Stidham's not costing him anything. Brian Hoyer didn't cost him anything. This is a team. There have been rumors out there. I find it hard to believe. We talked about it on Fox Bet Live on Thursday, potentially, that they were going to make a move and go after Deshaun Watson with everything they got. I would be really upset if the Houston Texans were allowing that to happen. But those are my 5 teams in order that can see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and think that could be us next year. Saints, Colts, Bears, Washington football team, and the Patriots. Those are the 5 teams that are a quarterback away and are wide open at the position.